The timeless craft of rope making. Picture this. You're stranded on a deserted island. No phone, no tools, just your bare hands and the wild expanse of nature. Survival hinges on your ability to adapt, to create, to innovate, to think like our ancestors did. And then it hits you. Rope. You need it to tie shelter together, to fish, to climb, to carry. It is the most fundamental tool of human civilization, older than the wheel, older than the written word. But how was it made? Long before machines could spin fibers into strong, durable cords. Rope is among humanity's oldest inventions. Tens of thousands of years ago, our ancestors twisted plant fibers into strong strands, creating something far greater than the sum of its parts. From ancient Egyptian shipbuilders to medieval European craftsmen, from Polynesian voyagers to the rigging of great sailing fleets, rope has bound together the story of human progress. But the art of making it, by hand, with skill and patience, is a tradition that is vanishing into history. Today, we step back in time to unravel the forgotten craft of traditional rope making. Imagine an ancient Egyptian dockyard, bustling with workers, the smell of tar and salt thick in the air. The great pharaohs needed ships to command the seas, but without rope, the massive sails would never hold, the ships would never be moored, the mighty obelisks of Karnak could never be lifted into place. Egyptian rope makers plied their trade with flax and papyrus, twisting the fibers by hand, stretching them across vast rope walks. These narrow lanes, sometimes stretching the length of a football field, were where craftsmen walked backward, rolling fibers between their fingers, weaving them into cords as strong as iron. Fast forward to the Viking Age. The Northmen relied on ropes made of animal sinew, wool, and bast fibers to rig their legendary longships. A single Viking voyage might depend on miles of painstakingly hand-spun cordage, each strand twisted by calloused hands. The fate of entire expeditions rested on these ropes. If they frayed in a storm, lives were lost. In Japan, a different tradition was taking root, one that survives to this day. Shimenawa, the sacred ropes of Shinto shrines, are more than just bindings. They are spiritual symbols. Made of rice straw or hemp, they are twisted with reverence, thick and imposing, marking places of divine presence. For centuries, Japanese rope makers perfected their craft with meditative precision, each twist imbued with meaning beyond mere utility. But it was the golden age of sailing, from the 16th to 19th centuries, that truly elevated rope making to an industrial scale. The great navies of the world, Spanish galleons, British frigates, Dutch merchant ships, required thousands of miles of rope, each ship a floating fortress of rigging, pulleys, and anchors. Rope walks became longer, workshops louder, the demand endless. Hemp, the lifeblood of the trade, was grown in vast fields, soaked in water to break down the tough fibers, then combed and spun by hand. Rope makers labored from dawn to dusk, their livelihoods dependent on a craft unchanged for centuries. And yet, despite their skill, the dangers were immense. A single mistake, a weak twist, a snapped strand, could doom a ship to disaster. By the 19th century, machines began to replace human hands, spinning rope faster than any craftsman could. Factories hummed with new efficiency, and the old ways faded into memory. But even now, in small corners of the world, artisans keep the tradition alive. In the villages of England, on the docks of the Philippines, in the workshops of Japan, skilled hands still twist fibers into strength, preserving a craft older than empires. Rope making is more than an art. It is the quiet force behind humanity's greatest achievements. Without it, the pyramids would not stand, ships would never have crossed the oceans, and explorers would not have scaled the highest peaks. It is a simple thing, just fibers twisted together, but it holds the weight of history in its coils. So the next time you tie a knot, fasten a shoelace, or see a great ship docked in the harbor, remember the hands that wove the ropes of the past. The hands that shaped the world strand by strand, twist by twist.